Welcome to the Breast Kings Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Nagel, and right here with me, as always, I have no one. Yet again, there is going to be 3 episodes of BKP today because we did not have an episode yesterday, and because of the circumstances, there may not be one tomorrow or Tuesday or Tuesday of next week or Thursday of next week. The schedule is getting hard, so there's going to be this very short episode with just me, an episode with Lane Early, if you remember him, he was on the Faggot Hour, and an episode with the main host, Jaden, because he's doing some biz right now. So I just searched for whatever article I could possibly review and whatever dirt I could possibly eat up, and I found this, a Parenting article, which I thought would be interesting coming from the perspective of a young lad like myself. This article is called "Got Obnoxious Offspring? It Could Be Your Fault." Yeah, so if your children suck and you're in control of them, they might just suck because of you. Totally weird hypothesis, like something nobody in the world would come up with, but you have to be patient to truly understand this. Okay, we're live, people are watching, let's go. Even the most polite children will act offensively at some times, mortifying mom and dad. The worst part is that they are likely, without you realizing it, to have learned their rude behavior from you. First of all, I hate the polite children will act offensively, because anything could be labeled offensive. Anything could be labeled. I have a shirt right now, and there's probably someone walking around butt naked without clothes, and they are offended that I'm wearing a shirt. So you're offending someone every single moment of your life that you do anything. Any solitary action is offensive to someone. So worrying about what comes off as offensive is a negative thing in the first place. So your kid should not be going around having anxiety, worrying about, is this offensive? Is this offensive? Oh my God, I can't do this. I might offend someone, because no one fucking cares, and it makes no difference. If North Korea dropped nukes on America right now, you better not be offended. You better be more than offended. Your feelings better not be hurt, because when your feelings hurt, nothing happens. You have to take action in that situation. Today, contributor and clinical psychologist Ruth Peters talked to Ann Curry on the show about strategies to prevent your unconscious example from being passed on to your progeny. Hear from Peters' last book, Laying Down the Law, the 25 Laws of Parenting to Keep Your Kids on Track, Out of Trouble, and Pretty Much, in parentheses, under control, are some time-tested tips that make sure that your little angels stay that way. Yeah, that's not a high standard for your kid at all. My kid has to be a little angel. But I don't have high standards for my kids. Insist on manners. Does it really matter if your child talks back, is a little snippy with you, or is generally obnoxious around adults? You bet it does. Now, that's subjective. Because there is a time. From the perspective of a child, there is a time that it is just super essential that you and your parents have that discussion or debate or argument. And I don't know what specifically that time would be, but there comes that time. So you shouldn't teach your child to never stand up to you. You should teach your child, though, empathy. Because that's all you need. People say, I want respect. You don't want respect. Because respect is something that we really can't define. And we've been trying to define it for so long. And what it ended up meaning, from your perspective, is respect means that you are not allowed to disagree with me. And that works for no one. And that takes a step back as a species. You want empathy. I want empathy. You want empathy. Everyone wants empathy. Well, we want people to understand us. Teach your kid to put themselves in the shoes of other people, and they won't be obnoxious. You have to stand up to people at some times, but I do agree that you shouldn't be obnoxious. A child who learns how to be polite will become a teenager who has trouble making friends, and an adult who makes a poor impression. It may seem old-fashioned, but there's no better way to help your child make friends and influence people than to teach him good manners. I truly, 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 truly believe that, and I truly don't believe that. Teaching your child to open a door for people is not going to gain them friends and not going to help them influence people. But that's micro. Or that's speaking macro. And the micro that might. In the micro, somebody might be impressioned by that kid and they might see them as more like they might put that kid in a positive light and they might listen to say kid. In the micro though, he's not gonna gain very many friends by just opening doors. I'm the guy that opens doors for people. I really don't have any charisma or any personality or any beliefs or anything to say for myself, and I really don't know how to communicate with people. But I can open doors for people and say thank you. Doesn't seem like it's gonna give him that much. Picture this. This family is at grandma and grandpa's house for dinner. You're helping to set the table. Your 14-year-old is yakking to a friend on the telephone, and your 8-year-old is watching television. Not knowing what's about to happen, grandma tries to begin a conversation with your son, who's glued to the tube. That is a horrible way to word it. Adults wear shit, like they wear shit in such a weird way, and you wonder why kids don't listen to you. At first, he seems not to hear Grandma, but after she repeats himself, he tells her, "Hush, I'm watching TV." Now, some grandmas would clobber at the kid, while others would give him a big piece of their mind. But your mom looks stunned, as if the rude remark cut through her like a knife. Embarrassed and feeling bad for your mother, you you reprimand the kid. I've never seen that word in my entire life, to be honestly. You reprimand the kid, hoping for a sincere apology. But he adds insult to injury by noting that you tell him to hush, shush, be quiet, or even shut up when he's interrupting you at home. All of which may be true, but you didn't need grandma to hear that. So if you're doing something in the private and you don't want people in the public to know it, and you're doing this around people, then don't act that way around certain people. If you're acting some way around somebody, but you don't want that way to go out to other people, then don't act that way around some person. Because if you really feel bad about the action, it has to be shitty in some way. It just has to be. Whew. Her feelings are hurt. You're disappointed and angry with your son, and he's fuming because you're being hypocritical. Even been there, or ever been there, in a sticky situation? This is worded so wrong. Why is there a space between the I and the N? What is this? Ever been there in a sticky, humiliating situation where your child has been so rude to another that you want to slide them under the rug? We all have. Yeah, ever just wanted to whoop your kid? Been there. Ready for some introspection? No. I'm ready for some introspection. I'm ready for conversation and debate and ideology and philosophy. But you are not. You're ready to say, hey, people would like it if I said this, so I should say this and reinforce their own beliefs in their head. But that doesn't work in the world. If you want true positive influence, you have to first slide people's emotions under the rug so we can have a logical world. Because logic always ends up being better for us when making decisions than emotions. Always, always, always. So we must first get people to stop putting their emotions ahead of their logic. And then we must just debate philosophy and we must debate ideas. You are using people's emotions as a selling mechanism to speak to them. I philosophically disagree with that. Think about the way all of your family members treat each other. Consider all the verbalizations, actions, ignoring, and responses that occur daily in your home. Now, how would you feel if your employer, co-workers, neighbors, or friends could see a video of how your family members treat each other? Would it be something that you would be proud of, or would it be humiliating and more than a tad embarrassing? Look, on some degree, I care what people think, because the basis of everything I do is because I want the best for people. On another degree, I don't care what people think about me. Like, on a level, I do. On a level, I even care about that. Because everybody, 99% of people care about that. And I hate how 80% of people spewed around that they don't care about people, but all they do is complain and complain and complain and complain and complain and bicker and talk about how sad they are through other people's opinions. I care about other people's opinions about me. Not as much as other people do, but I do. But I would not be embarrassed if someone's sitting there and watching me and my mom argue with each other. Because that is dumb. That there's no sense to that. There's no fucking sense to that. Do not censor yourself and do not create a fake presentation to other people around you. And today, don't say it's okay for people to do that. Why is it that we can be so rude, short-tempered, and impatient with the folks that we love the most, yet would never consider behaving in this manner with people that we are not related to? The answer lies in the dynamics of family life. I'm interested in this. We have to put up with one another, no matter what. Most family members admit to loving each other, if not exactly liking the other guy every single moment. In other words, we're kind of stuck with a grumpy grandpa, a nagging mom, an inconsiderate older sister, or a rambunctious little brother. They're not going anywhere, and neither are we. This leads to a tendency to take one another for granted. That's normal and part of the nature of family life in most homes. We are not on our best behavior because we are so used to each other, assume that members will always be there, and are often so absorbed in our own needs and activities that we cannot see beyond the tips of our collective noses. So families are shitty. I'm losing my voice. I can sense it. I'm going to save it for the next two shows coming up. That was a short episode of BKP. There's going to be a couple other shows later tonight. Probably just a couple 20-minute shows. But, yeah.